How's it going, guys? In this video, I will go over 3 examples, one for views, one for functions, and one for triggers. So let's start with the views. I think views is a pretty simple concept. If you want to store some kind of information permanently inside your database, like as a table, and you want to refer that to that information in your other queries, this is the easiest way to do it. So you can take any select query that you have written, like this one, return student names, number of courses they're enrolled in, and number of credits they're taking. So pretty simple select query. It could be a lot more complex. It could involve more aggregate functions. It could involve 1 or 2 subqueries or even more. But it doesn't matter. We can still save any query as a view. Well, there's one exception. I don't think you can use common table expressions in your select query and save it as a view. I don't think that works, but most of your queries should work with the views. And you can create a view just by writing one line. Create view student enrollment details as your select query. So no need to write parentheses, just the select query. So I'm gonna recreate this view. And let's see what's inside this view. So exact same table. And you can also find it in your schemas. So we are in the iSchool database. So it should be under iSchool views, student enrollment details, yeah. And if you look inside, again, exact same table. So although it's very simple, it's very, very useful because you might want to store some important information just for future reference, but you can continue modifying this information, but without having to rewrite this same query. You can just go from here, from this table, and continue modifying. You can add more information or you can update it. So good stuff. Now let's do functions. So for my function example, I wanted to return one single value. Either whether a student is a freshman, sophomore, junior, or a senior. And it's going to be based on when they joined InfoSci. So it'll be based on people table and start date column. So for my function, I named it student year, and I define one parameter, year of entry, and we define its data type as datetime, and we define its output as varchar20 because we just return a short string value, and we define it as deterministic, which means if we give it the same input, it will always return the same output. And it reads SQL data, so it does not modify data, it just reads the SQL data. And inside the function, we just declare one variable called likely class, and it's varchar20 data type. So, and we will use it as our output because later we'll do return likely class. So make sure your output variable is the same as what you define here. And what else did we do? We did an if statement. So we take the year of entry parameter, which is just start date. So it's going to be any date between 2018 and 2022. Or actually, we have some dates before 2018. but we're just looking at dates between 2019 and 2022. So if they were before 2019, if they joined InfoSci before 2019, we'll label them as senior. If they joined at some time in 2019, we'll label them junior. Sometime in 2020, sophomore. Sometime in 2021, freshman. So now keep in mind, this database might be a little bit outdated. So it was accurate back in 2021, but probably not accurate anymore. But let's just assume it's 2021 today. And we're using this if statement to determine whether this student is a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior based on when they joined. And then we end our if statement. And we return our output. So we do not define a condition for dates after 2022 because the database is from 2021 pretty much. But there might be a couple. And those people will probably just get null label, maybe null. We'll see. And the way you use this function is inside the select query, which returns the name of the student, the start date, and it uses start date as an argument, as a parameter of student year. So this part will return either freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, or null for each person in the people table. Just like this. But we do have quite a few people joining from after 2021. So they will get no label. So let's say people that joined 2022 or later, instead of having null label, I mean, of course, we could go back and change our trigger and maybe modify our if statement, but let's just keep the trigger the way it is right now. So it will return null values for people that joined later than 2021. But we still want to get some kind of output instead of null. What we could do, like without changing the trigger, we can use the if null function. It's a MySQL function. It's already built in MySQL, and it takes in a value. So in this case, the student year of this student based on the start date, and it's either going to be freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, or null. And if it's null, it will replace it with whatever string value we want it to be. So we want it to say not available. So if I run this, I should get the same table, except the null values will be replaced with not available. So this is an example of how you would replace null values. Of course, you could go back and change the trigger, but we're just assuming that we cannot change it. And finally, for triggers, in my example, I'll be using two tables. Instead of courses, I'll be doing courses copy because I do not want to change the original courses table. But the courses copy is going to be the exact same as courses, exact same data. And a new table, new course records, which has 3 columns. New course record ID, some kind of text, and some kind of timestamp. So you will see what it's about in a second. So for my new trigger, which is called new courses, it will activate every time a new record is being inserted into a courses copy table. And it will activate after the insert happens. And it's always going to be for each row. That's the standard for MySQL. And inside the trigger, we declare 5 variables. Because when we insert new courses, we have to give it a course ID, a course code, like INST, course number, like 327, course description, like database design modeling, and some amount of credits. So let's say 3 credits. So we're inserting a new record into courses copy. Let's say it's course ID 83, INST 999, database seminar, and 3 credits. So after we insert a new course, we want the trigger to do one thing. We wanted to take this new information that we just inserted and display some kind of message and store that message in the new table that we just created, the new course records, in this specific format. We wanted to display the course ID of that new course. So the way we do it is, first we declare those variables, and we set them equal to the new information. So the course ID of the new record is going to be assigned to the course ID variable, and the same thing for the other variables. Then we can use those variables and we will insert it into new course records. It will be our first column. Remember, the first column is new course record ID, and we can use course ID variable for that. But for our record text column, we're going to write a sentence which goes, you have added a new course, let's say INST 999, named database seminar, worth 3 credits. And for our last column, we wanted to display the current timestamp whenever this record is being inserted into new course records, which should be right after, immediately after we inserted the new course into courses copy table. So we can display the current timestamp by doing the now keyword. Or you can also do current underscore timestamp parentheses. It's the same thing. So let's see what happens. Let's save the trigger. And then let's check courses copy. Right now it should be the same as courses table, no difference. And it goes all the way up to 82. And let's also check new student enrollment records, which is empty right now. But when we add a new course, first let's check if it was added properly. Yeah, there we go. We have the new course, database seminar. So what's supposed to happen if we check the new course records table? It should display one row which represents the course ID and this sentence that contains this following information and the timestamp when it was added. And it should have happened automatically. So I didn't even do anything. I'll just go and check new course records table. And there we go. You've added a new course INST 999 named database seminar worth 3 credits. And the current timestamp is the current time. So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. Good luck on the assignment. And I'll see you in class.